It is now time for Kiwanis Connects. Come to order. Good Friday afternoon, everybody. I'm Aaron Phillips, live in Virginia Beach. No, we have not washed off the map with Hurricane Erin. Gone. We are fine. A beautiful day here in Virginia Beach. And of course, joining me today from the other side of the country in the same type of shirt wear as you see on your screen, Doc Val. How are you, my friend?
Aloha. Well, the week is ending a lot better than it started, so I'm really glad to be here.
There you go. We're on the upswing, and joining us in his own version of pinstripe below us, right off the soccer field, incoming president, current Kiwani of the Norfolk Kiwanis Club, Capital District here in the Hampton Roads area, incoming president up in Lynchburg. Not everybody travels with a whiteboard in his suitcase, as you see in his background there. Chris Bryan joins us. How are you, Chris?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's good to be with you. Vertical stripes make us all look better. So I either am big involved in sports or I just got out of prison. But either way, things are good. I'm glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, depending upon the athlete, some athletes have just gotten out of prison, so you may have covered both anyway. Anyway, thank you for joining us today, whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube. You know the routine. You got 3 channels on Facebook. Of course, if you're watching us on Kiwanis Connects, you're already there. Same channel on YouTube. You've got WWDBTV, i.e. the logo right there over my shoulder on both Facebook and YouTube. And of course, the WWDBTV Las Vegas channels on both Facebook and YouTube. We are live on all 6 pages. And if you miss anything about today's show, you want to go back and hear what Chris has to say about what we're going to talk to him about, just go back to any of those same channels and just pull up the video and rewatch it. Plus, we want to thank Comfort Care. They are our sponsor for this week's show. Actually, this month, the next 4 or 5 month shows of Kiwanis Connects. We want to thank Tiffany and Company. The Voice Merch Shop is there. And of course, Tidewater Community College. We're going to run one of their spots as well because Chris just happens to work for them as well. So I figured we'll run one of his spots. And of course, as always, we want to thank each and every one of you. Put your comments in the chat room, monitoring that as well on Facebook. John is monitoring the chat room on YouTube. Share the feed. And of course, as always, I got to give the cheap pop for a couple of things. Number one, if you too want to dress like Val and I do for each and every week on our show with the Kiwanis Connects jersey, all you need to do is just send an email to kiwanisconnectsinfo@gmail.com and I will reply with all the instructions. If you want a jersey just like we have, they're really cool. Latest order, Nancy Pearson from Los Gatos. Thank you very much. She ordered multiple jerseys, I'm guessing for her club, Val. We want to thank you all for supporting because those purchases, as well as the customized commercials that we have available, not only those support the Rose Flow Club, but more importantly, they support to keep this show on the air. Isn't that right, Susan Wells? Right? We know. Anyway, got to take care of all that business before we get to it. So, as always, Doc Val, how's your week been? How's Andy coping? What's going on in your neck of the woods this week before we get started with Chris?
Well, Cal Neva, we're just starting to roll into how do we wrap up this amazing year and roll into the new year. And so there's been a lot of planning going on, a lot of bylaws passing and all kinds of fun stuff that we're looking at in different committees. But on the home level, you know, if you've ever had knee replacement surgery or know anybody who's had knee replacement surgery, it is no joke. And I would recommend to anybody out there, make sure that you do everything ahead of time that you can possibly do.
To get ready.
Absolutely. You know, and Andy's an old athlete. And so, yeah, it adds up.
I'm glad you added the word athlete after old because I wouldn't want him to get mad behind you there.
Oh, he's heard worse.
Hey, by the way, speaking of convention, you know, we didn't say this last week, and I was remiss upon that, but, you know, we came back from convention. Listen, you know, if you didn't hear about this, and Val has no idea I'm about to share this with the world out here, but at Cal Neva Convention, Val got the support and nomination from Cal Neva. Val's name will appear on the ballot for Kiwanis International Trustee. So congratulations, Doc Val, continuing her rise. And someday, Chris, you and I will be singing dun 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 dun. No doubt one day we're going to see Dr. Val Klingelhofer Brown, Kiwanis International Presidente. No doubt.
Oh, let's just get to international trustee. But, you know, a lot of this is the reason I'm doing it is because of it's like one degree of separation. We don't need to do 1 degree of Kevin Bacon or 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. I've discovered that it truly is almost 1 degree to Val, and you can solve any problem. And but I also create as many problems as I start. And as we were starting this process, it was like I realized Chris and I have 1 degree of separation, and then we have added you, Aaron, into the mix.
Oh boy.
Chris has been a mover and shaker in the Capital District for a really long time. And so, Chris, how do you go from being, you were the membership chair for Capital District, which was meteoric in how many clubs you guys were adding after a long hiatus of adding clubs, to now you're leading the charge for your new club. So tell us a little bit about Chris.
Doc Val, it is fun that you have traveled all over the country, all over the world, growing Kiwanis. You've caught into the mission and vision, and I think we all have, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you're tapped into the show today, I know that you believe in the goodness of Kiwanis. When I joined Kiwanis, my introduction story is a very interesting story. I was in my mid-20s. I was moving back to an area that I had grown up in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I didn't know any leaders. And so I went to a buddy of mine who was a trusted scout leader, and he was also the local jeweler. So he knew everybody in town, and he knew everybody that had money, folks that were buying nice, expensive jewelry. And I said, hey, man, I need to meet adults. I need to do this adulting thing. Can you introduce me to local leaders? He said, well, what are you doing this Friday for lunch? I was like, I don't have any plans. So he introduced me to the Kiwanis Club. I had no idea what I was showing up to. He just said, hey, come to this place at this time. And so Phil Boson invited me to a Kiwanis meeting. I walked in, and it was a huge meeting. It was packed. There was so many people in the room. We started networking and glad handing, and you could tell that the spirit of Kiwanis and service was alive in that room. And so we started shaking hands. We sit down for lunch, the typical meeting, the opening. And while the opening is happening, Philip leans over to me and says, hey, by the way, I'm glad you're having a good time, but their speaker for today's program backed out on them, and I told them that you'd do it. And so with about 5 minutes notice, I was an executive with the Boy Scouts of America at the time. My first Kiwanis meeting that I was very, very well received. I also had to jump up to the podium and give the program. And so Phil Boson, thank you out there. I think you're in Nevada somewhere out on the coast near Doc Val. With that being said, that was my introduction to Kiwanis. And I guess I've been a member for about 24 years now, 25 years, have loved every second of it, and growing Kiwanis through membership and just through the goodness of our service programs has been invaluable in my life.
And now you're going to be taking over the reins come October 1st of the Norfolk Kiwanis Club with your installation in the middle of next month, correct?
Aaron, it's fascinating. I was I went through the chairs in Lynchburg. I was the club president, I think in 2011. And then of course, after that is when I became lieutenant governor and then served as the membership chair. And that's where Doc Val and I met each other when we were growing Kiwanis in this region. The Capital District is a large district, and it's got a great reputation. It's Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, DC. It's a large geographic swath, and now it even includes West Virginia. So it's a big, vibrant, relevant district. It was fun even then growing Kiwanis. There were some lean years, but there was a team that fought very, very hard to make sure every member that joined had local impact. And so now that I've gone through all of that, maybe I'm trained enough to come to Norfolk and be the president there. And so it's exciting. I do start October 1st, and I'm looking forward to it. The Kiwanis Club was started in 1919, so it's 107 years old next year. Great traditions, a good club, about 50, 55 members, so a good-sized club. We meet every Thursday, or at least the first 3 Thursdays of the month, and then, of course, we play and serve and have a good time.
As a matter of fact, this weekend, Capital District's Decon is going on. So while we're holding forward here, district is happening outside Arlington, if I'm not mistaken. Crystal City, if I believe, is the right location. So
that's right.
That is happening at this time. And a year ago at this time, Chris and I met at Portsmouth at Decon. We were sitting in the social media seminar together, and the moderator made a point, and I commented on something, and then Chris followed that up with something, and I turned to my wife and I said, man, that guy who just made that comment, he sounds like a smart guy. I got to know who that guy is. And at the end of the seminar, we walk out. Eileen and I are walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden I heard the quick feet of pitter patter come up behind me. And it was Chris stopping me to introduce himself to me. We chatted, and dare I say, the rest is history. So Chris was actually one of the first people that I got to know as a friend in general, as a Kiwanian, before we walk down the path together to help support each other's personal projects. So, Chris, I thank you for that. We are celebrating our 1-year anniversary together.
We should have cake.
We should. Let them all eat cake. Let them eat cake. You can have cake. You can have cake. Anyway, I digress. But no, it is interesting. You know, Kiwanis does have that 6 degree of separation mentality in reality for everybody. For me, Kiwanis was important because it was a level of familiarity when I moved out here, knowing nobody except for Doreen, who I knew in name from Doc Val as a connection. And we came to our first meeting a month after we moved here. And then here I am 6 weeks later. I go to district at Portsmouth and I meet Chris, and everything just kind of blows up positively that way. So Kiwanis does have that 6 degree of separation, and thankfully it does.
Well, Kiwanis definitely connects. I mean, it's in your branding, in your title. It's fantastic. You know, as I jump back in as president, when we do some of these larger roles, we forget the intricacies of just being the local face and voice and leader of Kiwanis. Even though I think all three of us are all excited about Kiwanis on a regular basis and growing it internationally, we all know it starts in the trenches. It starts with really good clubs. And so I will say, over the past couple of weeks, as I've done my planning and preparation, I've become a little bit more intimidated again, and that's been fun. Having the butterflies in the belly is great. I'll share with you now. I haven't shared with the club yet, but my very first meeting, I want to let them know who I am as their new leader, but also share my goals. And we will actually, I believe you only get better at what you measure. And we're going to have measurements. I'm going to put peanut M&Ms on everybody's place setting. Peanut M&Ms, because it's really, I'm going to measure the 4 M's, right? I'm going to measure money, membership, monthly service, and manpower. And I can even throw in a 5th for the 2 of y'all, because you know this is marketing. So everybody gets 5 M&Ms, and those are the things that we're going to measure throughout this year.
Well, I'm going to help you get kicked off at your installation. A gal that I met a couple of weeks ago at the chamber, she and I had breakfast together last week. We started talking. Go to find out, she is a former Key Clubber, born and raised in the Norfolk area. And I was talking to her about the clubs, and I happened to have mentioned this Norfolk Kiwanis Club presidential installation my wife and I was invited to. And she's the gal that's going to be coming with me as my guest, so that if y'all play it right, you may get your first new member before you even, we'll hold her off till October 1st, of course. But, so I'm sharing the wealth for you, Chris.
You know, that's fantastic. Our club is growing. We've added 3 new members in the past 30 days or so. We do have a couple more applications that are in the process. And so our club is growing. We are relevant. We are vibrant. And our current president, Gary Lane, is just a ball of energy. He is all in. He is a professional. He has been wonderful. There would be big shoes to fill, but I do believe that I have a little bit of passion. And so the 2 of us together can just create some consistency that I think will be good for the region and the club.
You know, I'm fascinated with this thing.
Val, you're breaking up a second there, Val.
Okay, I apologize for that. I think we've got like every device known to man on in the house, so like 13 different things, and then the landline's ringing. But when you're talking about all your M's, I'm absolutely fascinated by this. And so, Chris, I'm going to wrangle you and ask you right now to be on my team for this upcoming year, because I think those 5 M's, when you add marketing in, absolutely. And it helps you fill those big shoes, because you really have the steps in the direction. So when you're looking at money, what are you really talking about? Because most people think of Kiwanis as only service. So when you're talking about money, where are you going with that?
You betcha, Val. Well, first of all, nobody can say no to you. Whenever you ask, the answer is going to be yes. And likewise, whenever we ask, we have to think that the people are going to say yes to us as well. So I'm actually a fundraiser by trade. I've been in development and philanthropy all my life, and I do that now for Tidewater Community College. And with all of that boiled down to the most simplistic, philanthropy means for the love of humankind, right? So no one can say no to us as long as we keep on asking appropriately. Oftentimes we continue to go back to the same well, to the same choir members. Those folks are going to be our tried and true without a doubt. Just like with membership, we have to expand the way that we present ourselves. We have to share with folks why. It's called a case for support. Present a case where when you share with a potential donor, they understand that Kiwanis and your club is uniquely positioned to solve problems. There are lots of great organizations out there, faith groups and nonprofits. We all know that. With that being said, Kiwanis is absolutely a relevant seat at the table in any community. And so we have to be unabashedly, just unashamed to go and ask people to support us. So there are fundraisers and bake sales, and then there's just asking for, someone to invest in you. Sponsorships are huge. We're all fans of events. Events really don't raise a lot of money. It's the sponsorships and the auctions that raise money on top of an expensive event. So with that being said, I would just encourage people to develop a really good case why your club is so different from everybody else and the community problems you're trying to solve, and then just go ask people to invest in you. I think if you just ask some of those things, it'll go a long way.
I like that. I like that philosophy. Yes. By the way, did you say it was peanut M&Ms or regular M&Ms?
Well, it's going to have to be peanut M&Ms because that's my favorite.
Oh, okay. All right, hey, everybody, we're going to step aside for our first break. When we come back with Chris, we're going to find out more about some of the service projects that Norfolk Kiwanis is known for, their signature projects, some of his goals for the year. We also have Melissa Atwell, mental health moment, wow moments, Kiwanis Spotlight, and of course, bad dad jokes. And Chris is armed with his supply as well to get us kicked off later on. Thank you for watching Kiwanis Connects. Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
With an award-winning and dedicated faculty and 4 beautiful campuses, Tidewater Community College proudly serves nearly 25,000 students a year, 48% of whom pursue degrees that let them transfer to 4-year institutions. At Tidewater Community College, 65% of our students attend part-time, so they can earn while they learn, and 1/3 of our students are military-related. Enroll today at Tidewater Community College. From here, go anywhere.
I wouldn't let aging stop me from being me.
Oh yeah, still got those moves in me.
I will be fabulous.
I will accessorize.
Comfort Care can help with as much or as little home care as you need. From medication reminders and meal prep to everyday chores and errands. Let us create your personalized care plan and find the perfect caregiver match so you can live your best life possible.
All right, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. Chris Bryant, he is the incoming president for the Norfolk Kiwanis Club here in the Hampton Roads area, joins us. He's on the road up in Lynchburg, taking care of some business up there, and he's not running a soccer camp or football camp, so don't worry about that. Doc Vallis here, as always. Yours truly, John, is back in Vegas pushing all the buttons. So, Doc Val, I'll turn it over to you to take it away.
Well, we were talking about all the amazing service projects. You know, when you've been around 107 years, you've got something going on. And so that was one of the M's. I was trying to take notes as fast as I could, Chris, but I didn't catch the one that was the service M.
Yeah, I call it monthly play and service. And of course, you just have to be consistent. For the Kiwanis Club of Norfolk, we're probably no different than many of the other clubs that we're going to have signature things that the community knows us for. I like to separate out the fundraising portion because we all do lobster sales or bake sales or car washes. We do these fundraisers that we can't assume those are just service projects. These fundraisers allow us to buy into service and give charity money away, but we also have to be doing service. We have to do things as a club that gets us in front of the public. Otherwise, we're just meeting, somewhere for lunch and nobody ever knows what we're doing. It's that group that sings songs and says the Pledge of Allegiance in some back room. We have to be involved in the public and have a public-facing external brand. With that being said, just do adopt a spot, do a street cleanup. We do that monthly or every other month with the Kiwanis Club of Norfolk. We get out. It's very fun. We actually internally, we joked about it yesterday at our meeting that we're going to get up at 8:00. We're going to pick up trash for about an hour or two. We eat at a local place that's a hot dog diner called Dumar's, and we have a morning breakfast beer. Who eats hot dogs and has beer at 10 a.m.? Well, that's us, silly Kiwanians in Norfolk, Virginia. But that's playing and serving at the same time. We also need to be involved in our youth programs. One of the weaknesses, I think, of the Norfolk Club currently is we don't have any Key Club, we don't have any CKI, and so it's time for our area to invest in the full family of Kiwanis and just start small. We won't come out crazy and try to recreate the world, but I do think over the next year during my administration, one of our big goals will be to start some of those service clubs for our youth leadership. So to start a Key Club in one of the Norfolk high schools would be fantastic. So that's one of our big goals for the year is to make sure that we're giving young people an opportunity for service and leadership themselves.
And if you're investors out there, you might want to invest in Prilosec, because if you're having hot dogs and beer at 10 in the morning, Prilosec HD and heartburn may be a good thing to protect. Anyway, what are the service projects specifically? I know you do the cleanup, like you said, but what other service projects is the Kiwanis Club of Norfolk known for on a regular basis?
Yeah, we actually have a large healthcare system in Norfolk, but we have a level 1 trauma center. And right there in that healthcare complex is a Ronald McDonald House. If you don't know what Ronald McDonald House, it's a home where families that have children that are in distress and need healthcare, it's where the families can come and stay for free. If you've never been to a Ronald McDonald House in your region, get on the fast track to go check one of those places out. They'll give you a tour. Of course, it's very discreet and very appropriate because there's families that are living there, and they could be living there for a couple days or for a long while, where their child is receiving chemotherapy or surgery or something huge that is either expected or unexpected. So the Ronald McDonald House that's right there in the complex of EVMS and ODU and Centera Healthcare. There's also the Children's Hospital, the King's Daughters. And so the Ronald McDonald House is right across the street from that children's hospital. We go in on a regular basis and buy the food, cook a meal for dinner time. They only want 4 or 5 Kiwanians, so it doesn't take a huge group of people. 4 or 5 of us go up, we prepare the meal, we lay it out on the counter in the kitchen, and then we leave. We don't even have to clean up. The families that are coming just need some alone time. They don't need a lot of pomp and circumstance. So one of the projects that I think that our club is known for is being appropriately involved in the serving of the meals at Ronald McDonald House for those families that are there for their kids that are in distress.
Yeah, the Ronald McDonald House gets a lot of recognition in name across the country, but there was also Ronald McDonald House in Vegas, and every Ronald McDonald House has their own character to it. Even has something very similar to that in the Kiwanis Family House that was part of the programs out there. But any support we can give families like that for their children certainly is a very rewarding experience. And like you said, Chris, if somebody out there has never done that, then you should consider doing it and dropping off stuff for the families to really make a bad situation as comfortable as possible. So that's a great job. I love that stuff. So
one of the things I want to jump in on is now is the time actually for clubs to start evaluating what they do, because places like Ronald McDonald House are more necessary now with the cost of hotels and all those things around the service when their kids are in the hospitals. And there have been fewer and fewer people that are donating their time. And so what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing. And I think that it's something that can be replicated anywhere there is a Ronald McDonald House. And so I think if you're out there listening and you're doing a podcast, you're only listening to us, don't stop your car right now, but come back to it and take some notes, because I think that this is one thing that might revitalize your club by creating a new relationship. So Chris, that's a phenomenal signature project.
Dr. Val, I love that you said that those community relationships, collaborations and partnerships are everything. One thing that I know that Kiwanians are bad at is we keep doing the same thing we've always done. We don't have these stop doing lists when something is not as effective as it used to be. This time of year is the perfect time of year to do your internal club satisfaction survey, what your members like, what they love, what they don't like, what they can be involved in. It's really an evaluation of your club before the start of the October. And then, of course, there's the community assessment where you go to local leaders. So there's really two tools out there, one internally for your club, a satisfaction survey, and then the other is your community vibrancy survey. I don't know the names of I can't even remember the true names of them, but it goes from leader to leader, your police chief, your fire departments, your council members, your mayors, your clergy, where you go and say, what do you know about Kiwanis? And have you heard about us lately? And so what are the things happening in your area that Kiwanians can serve in? Where do you see food insecurity or housing insecurity? Where do you see the problems in the area? And so oftentimes we'll have aha moments because we'll review those surveys internally and go, oh, well, our members don't want to do this anymore. Now they want to do this. And oftentimes the even better calling is when you listen to the community leaders and they say, what you used to do 20 years ago is no longer needed, but this new thing right here, this reading program, this tutoring program, it's everything. And so just keep in mind that if you can use those two tools as a leader coming in, Kiwanis has got this figured out. Just use those tools.
That's great. I don't think the leaders in our clubs, use those as effectively, if at all, anymore, because I think you're right. I think we just all tend to fall into habits and just want to keep doing what's been done. It's easier, doesn't create waves, it doesn't create shock value. And I think after a while, that's why some clubs get stagnant and use the tools that are out there, So I think that's a great message. That's a great message.
They're the ACE tools. And so when everybody is looking for it, it's achieving club excellence. And you can look those up. But I think that it's gone from just reading it and handing out surveys to what you're doing, Chris, which is actually going out and having the conversations. And I think that's where we've made a huge disconnect, like Aaron is talking about, because we want to do the quick survey monkey and just get data back in and read it, and instead of actually talking with people. And I think that leads into one of your other M's, is like when you get out there and start talking to people, you actually grow your membership. And right now you're sitting at 55. Do you have a secret number that you want to be at the end of your year?
So I may have misspoke. I think we're at 50 right now. 55 is the number that I want to be at. So Doc Val, that's the number that I have on my brain. I think a lot about movies and music. There's that whole, I can't drive 55. So we're at 50 now. I want us to gain 5 members. I want us to be at 55 by the end of the year.
So you want a net gain of 5.
That is absolutely right. We all know that there's going to be natural attrition, right? We're going to have folks that move away, leave our club. That means you're going to have 6, 7 new members.
How you fix for officers? Because a lot of clubs, because of the lack of newer members or people who have been retreads over the years, how's your structure for future leadership in your club lining up? Are you guys looking good? Give me a feel for what the future is for your club leadership.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. We live in a very fast-paced professional world. Our club has never recycled the president. I think that's one of those hallmark indicators of, we talk about retreads. Have you had someone come back in the club? And our club has never needed to do that to date. There's always the unintentional shuffle of, okay, somebody's had a work calling, they've changed jobs, they've changed careers, positions, or there's just family emergencies, and you switch who is the president-elect or vice president. Those things happen. They seem to be happening more now than they used to happen 10 or 20 years ago. With that being said, I think if your club is continuing to just simply ask new people to serve on the board, you want to start that natural progression. You want folks to come in where they don't feel like they're coming in cold. They understand the mission and vision and values of Kiwanis and your local club, and they've gained a little bit of knowledge and familiarity that they can just move through those seats appropriately. I think that if you can start that, most clubs have those 2-year board cycles. So you're a first year and then a second year. And then if that person does well, put them right in the line for the vice president, president-elect, and then president. And the most glorious position of them all, immediate past president. We're all looking for that position.
That's right. Get promoted to immediate past whatever. That is the glory position for sure. You mentioned about the SLP programs, Key Club or whatever, but one thing that you haven't mentioned yet, maybe because we haven't asked about it, there is Circle K, and of course with your involvement at Tidewater Community College, that almost seems like a no-brainer level of SLP program on the college level would be Circle K, at least through TCC. Have you considered that at all?
I have indeed. You're absolutely right. That seems to be low-hanging fruit. TCC, the community college that I work at, Tidewater Community College, is about 25,000 students. So it's no small institution. It's a large college across 5 cities. We're a part of the Virginia Community College system, which is 23 colleges across the system, across the Commonwealth of Virginia. Aaron, it's neat. As I've explored the Commonwealth, I'm not sure any of the community colleges have an SLP program, CKI. And so it is low-hanging fruit. I always think about it. I do believe we'll crack that at some point. Each of the colleges have been going through a little bit of a metamorphosis of their own student leadership programs. And so I don't want to interfere with what our student affairs leaders are doing. Tidewater Community College, because we had 4 campuses, we had a student government association, an SGA at each one of those. This year, they've combined them into one. There's one governing body. And so that's good. And it also leaves openings for new opportunities. And so now that group is consolidating, this might be a good time to create institute some new leadership opportunities. We also have an ambassador program, and those ambassadors are advocates and champions for us. They go to the clubs and organizations and meet with those groups. They also go externally and do etiquette dinners, and they speak at Kiwanis clubs and Rotary clubs and JCs. And so we love the ambassadors. And lastly, we have a student leadership program called Gear Up to Lead. So the college has a few things that are engaged. I've been waiting for the right time to show them the glory of what a CKI club could be.
Right on. There you go. And I can verify for you when I had to do some research last year about communication programs in those campuses, I also noticed that there was no CKI in any of those college campuses either. So I can confer for you that is the case. So
yeah, we've got room there. We've got room for growth across the system. Community colleges many times have really seen themselves, and we are rightfully a workforce institute. We want folks to get training and get a job. And oftentimes we forget about that student experience, that the world is changing. We just mentioned it a couple of times about our communities. Yeah. The world is changing. There are different student needs now than there used to be. And you see the community college doing more student affairs and student engagement than it's ever done before. And so I think there's some opportunity there.
Right. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that Kiwanis Clubs fit into so well. It's that mentorship part. Because when you can connect someone that's already in the professional world or at the end of their career, and they can be a guiding light to somebody that's just starting off or trying to figure it out, it's a perfect fit. And so this is a great opportunity. It's like, getting ideas.
Absolutely. All right. Looking at the clocks in my studio here, not one of them are all synchronized. So I have all different times around me right now. So I want to avoid what happened last week on my show where I was looking at the wrong clock and ran late. So let's take our second break a few minutes early, because I know, Doc Val, we want to talk to Chris about some Native American stuff that he loves to do in his community that he's also very, very involved with. And then, of course, we have Mental Health Moment. We have Kiwanis Wow. We have Kiwanis Projects. And then, of course, Bad Dad Jokes. So we got a lot to do. We're going to step out a few seconds early here. So don't go anywhere. More with Kiwanis Connects and our guest, Chris Bryant. John, take us out if you would, please.
Have you heard the news? WWDBTV Virginia Beach has arrived. WWDBTV will bring an exciting lineup of shows streaming from our very own Virginia Beach studio. Since we're an affiliate of WWDBTV Las Vegas, our show lineup will also be available on all of the WWDBTV social media channels. We are looking for new and current show hosts, content creators, and our advertisers who would like to take advantage of our vast audience. Las Vegas Entertainer Hall of Fame member Aaron "The Voice" Phillips is building this brand of marketing and promotional platform right here in Hampton Roads. For more information, email www.tvinfo@gmail.com or call 702-286-0063. Think outside the box and let your voice be heard.
Your path to a meaningful career begins at Tidewater Community College. We're here to help you every step of the way, from application to financial aid, to helping you transfer to the four-year college of your choice, and even placement in in-demand careers. Whether you're looking to transition from the military, want to go part-time while you work, or make a full-time career change, TCC is here for you with multiple campuses throughout the region. Enroll today at Tidewater Community College. From here, go anywhere.
I wouldn't let aging stop me from being me.
Oh yeah, still got those moves in me.
I will be fabulous.
I will accessorize.
Comfort Care can help with as much or as little home care as you need. From medication reminders and meal prep to everyday chores and errands. Let us create your personalized care plan and find the perfect caregiver match so you can live your best life possible.
All right, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. Thank you for joining us today on this Friday, August 22nd. Unbelievable that we're only about 2 weeks, or not even a week away, 10 days away from Labor Day. And if this isn't pushing the envelope, we change our clock Saturday, November 2nd. So get ready for that. We gain an hour. That's not a terrible thing. We gain that extra hour of sleep, so that is a good thing. And the debate will continue as to whether we should keep moving our clocks every 6 months. The debate will continue. Anyway, welcome back. Chris Bryant, he is the incoming president for the Kiwanis Club in Norfolk, or Norfolk Kiwanis Club, whichever way you want to say it. He's also a longtime 20-plus year member of Kiwanis, and he's up in Lynchburg taking care of business, making time for us today. So, Doc Val, take it away.
Well, I'm looking, me, I get kind of structured and linear. It happens. It happens. So one of the things that we were talking about, you were talking about manpower. And so when you were talking about manpower as part of your M, what does that really look like?
I love that, Doc Val. Oftentimes, it's the old 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the work gets done by 20% of the people. The more that we can spread that equation out, the better. Oftentimes, especially with smaller clubs, a few people end up doing just an enormous amount of work. The more that we can do to just simply ask all of our leaders within the club to take on a little piece, it's better. And so one of the things that I want to do is just take some of the workload that seems to be on the top officers and spread that out. Give everybody some small tasks, whether it's somebody doing a sergeant at arms at a meeting, or doing a greeter at the meeting, or giving a shout out. So there's things that people can do during meetings. There's things that people can do for service projects. There's things that people can do for socials. If you're not doing monthly socials, going to the ball game together, going to a movie together, going to collaborative partners together, having someone just be your social representative is good. Getting your club into parades, just having someone, their whole job is getting you into 2 parades a year. So I just believe in asking people to do a little more. And sometimes asking people to do a lot more, but the manpower thing has to shift. If we're all wearing 5 hats in one club, we're doing that within our work life. We're doing that in our family and home life. We're doing that at our church and faith life. So we're just very, very busy. I think the manpower issue needs to be to spread and diversify the workload amongst more members of the club.
I'm listening to you and it just sparked something for me, because I was actually down in San Diego doing a club revitalization, and I involved my mom. And we got her into a new club, and I'm doing my shout out to the Granville Allied Gardens Club and John Crawford and Valerie Crawford, because they invited my mom in to join their club. And they realized Mama Flo only shows up when she thinks dinner's going to be good. Yeah. And it was just like, And so John actually decided that each person that normally doesn't show up needed a job. And that if they had a job, then they were more likely to show up. So now he's rotating. He started this past week rotating trivia. So one person is responsible for doing the trivia. Another person is responsible for doing the birthday cards and the holiday cards for the next month. And so folks are feeling like, I actually matter. I think when you're talking about manpower and involving people, it's about letting them know that their time is important and them showing up is important. So
I love that so much. It's a value add, right? People want to feel valued.
absolutely.
And we've become a society over the past 10, 20 years of, it seems to be a sign of weakness to ask somebody for help or ask someone to do something. I've got 2 young boys, 18 and 20, and we've done the best we can to encourage them to ask others. But even their generation seems to be reluctant to ask. And I think that actually starts with us. I think at some point we said if you're strong, you don't need help. And that's just the craziest thing ever. We all need help. We all need to get better, and we all need to have community. I think one of the things that Kiwanis is great at is about building community. This connects that you guys talk about. If we don't ask people for help, then we're really never going to build any true relationships.
So true.
Aren't most men usually guilty of not asking for help?
All the time.
That's our biggest faux pas. Everybody says we never ask for help. Before we get ready to segue into some of our other bits and pieces, let's talk about the Native American programs that you love dearly so much and that you're part of. Talk about that, if you would, please.
I will. I'll start by saying it's funny that we're talking about this. There's times that I love to bring all my little side worlds together, and then there's times that I'm worried that they won't be cohesive and that they'll be a little weird. Thank you for asking me about this. Isn't it funny that we're talking about a word called Kiwanis? Because in background, it's a Native American word that basically means it's translated several different ways, but basically we gather, we meet, we make noise, we like to be together. And so even our word Kiwanis has Native American backgrounds and beginnings. With that being said, I'm a non-Indian. I'm someone who is more Irish and German than anything else. My wife and I met at an American Indian powwow in the early 90s. And so she and I have been going to these events for a long, long time. It's like anything else. You start locally. And our local tribe here in the Commonwealth of Virginia is the Monacan Indian Nation. And at the time, they were just restarting their vibrancy because, let's be clear, we've done a crazy disservice to American Indian tribes and families over the past 250 years. And as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country, we also have to realize that we've got some very, very awful stories from our beginnings, and it's never too late to do the right thing. And so with that statement, I will also say that I just really enjoy being around all people, and that's including American Indian people. So when my wife and I met, we had no idea that was the first Monacan Indian Nation powwow in Central Virginia. We had no idea that we would be married 30 years later and still going strong and going to powwows. And now we travel not only amongst the powwows in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we travel to powwows all over the country. And there's just like Kiwanis, there's this network of people and families that love to get together, be together, and share. And so when you go to these powwows, it's really just a family gathering, a celebration, a reunion where you're singing great music, you're dancing to good tunes, and you're eating good food and just praying and playing together. And so, I really I think love is the biggest word on the planet. I think nothing on the universe is better than love. But when I boil down my simple life, pray and play. If I'm doing those two things all the time, then I feel very good. So the American Indian families that we're involved in have been a blessing. Our youngest son is adopted. He is a member of the Monacan Indian Nation. That nation, from its rekindling in the early 90s, has now gone through the state recognition process, and now they're a federally recognized tribes. And that is so good because that recognition, first of all, let's talk about just simple recognition. These are people that are a part of a nation. They've always been here, right? They're the people that inhabited this land first. And so to not recognize someone is to not even see them as a human. So this recognition process is very tough, but good for the Commonwealth of Virginia and these local tribes that have gone through the process and done the right things and fought hard all these decades and hundreds of years to get recognition. And now that recognition comes with resources that everybody needs, healthcare and education and the support and resources that people need to thrive and get better. So I'm glad to be a humble part of the American Indian community as a participant, and it sure is fun to be engaged in that way.
Well, you shared with us before we went on the air that November is Native American Month, and you mentioned that the Norfolk Kiwanis Club has some things planned. So hopefully we'll be able to tap into that here on Kiwanis Connects as well in the month of November and help bring a larger spotlight to celebrating our Native American heritage across the board. All right, watching the clock, I have to shift gears on us all here pretty quickly. So with that, let's take it away to Melissa Atwell to the mental health moment for this week's show. Take it away, Melissa.
Healing isn't linear. It doesn't follow a straight line. You'll have good days, you'll have hard days. What matters is that you keep going and you keep moving forward. Remember, take a moment for your mental health.
All right. Great message, and I hope my wife heard that message. If not, I'll make sure she hears that message. All right, Doc Val, let's turn it over to you for Wow and Kiwanis Spotlight. Take it away.
Oh, it's hard to follow up with all the sparkles. One of the things that came up this past week that just made me go wow, and it just made me re-believe in the human spirit was there's a guy named Clariton. I'm going to have to read it. Clariton. He goes by Nicky Crawford in Atlanta, Georgia. And Clariton actually had stepped back from making money and looking at things and said, what can raise the human spirit is by feeling clean and seen. And so he has converted old school buses and regular buses into places where people can go in and do their laundry and take showers and get brand new clothing so that they can then go out and maybe sometimes get a warm meal if he's got some donations to get a warm meal. And so one side of the bus are washing machines, the other side dryer, back side are showers. It's amazing. And so I wanted to do a shout out to Clariton. And I think that that's something that Kiwanis clubs could help do around the world. It's decommissioned buses or decommissioned trains and making a difference so that people, when they're clean and seen, they then think their voices are worth something. So
absolutely, I love that pride. It's there's a gentleman outside our building, homeless man, presumably. He's out there quite often. So this morning I got here early and I took a walk over to Einstein's Bagel for a little breakfast for myself. And as I was there, I picked up an extra plain bagel, just no schmear on it, just a plain bagel with a bottle of water. And I see him all the time out there. We say hello. And you know what? I didn't even think twice about it. So, let me get an extra bottle of water and a little, carb, a little something for him. So just picked something up for him, and on the way back, just handed to him. Oh, he was so grateful. You think I handed him a bag of $1 million? Well, he probably wishes it was $1 million, but hey, bottle of water and a bagel is all I can do for it, bud. So hopefully, I know he appreciated it. So, but that's a great project. I love it. Segueing into a spotlight, or is that kind of that project?
Absolutely. No, because that wasn't a Kiwanis project. That was a humanitarian project.
Love it.
So I've got one that it's just been singing to my heart over and over again. And it is sponsored by Division 24 in Florida. And so they are tapping into horse therapy. And so it's called the Exceptional Riders Program, and they support therapeutic horseback riding for individuals with disabilities. And I think that they're just trying to rekindle it, and it's every week on Saturdays, and they're making it available. So if you are anywhere near Florida and you want to do a volunteer, this is a great time to join in with them and be able to help out. So my shout out to a great program, because it's hard to get insurance for anything that involves large animals. And but our Kiwanis insurance covers programs like this. And so partnering with horse therapy group to be able to give back is absolutely huge. So,
all right, let me beat y'all to the punch. That's why Eileen can't get insurance for me. All right, I know y'all thinking it. I know y'all thinking about it. Let me just beat you to the punch. I know John was thinking about it. He just didn't jump in with it. I know. Yeah, exactly.
But what makes this really special is it's not only the Kiwanians, it's also the key clubbers. So they are rotating between their key clubs and who is responsible. So it's not a huge burden, but it's something that happens 52 times a year. That's
absolutely
huge. It's absolutely
huge. Bravo to them down in Florida. Bravo to listen. You know what? We highlight so much good stuff on this show And it's so great to be able to share it on this platform all around the world, to hear all the different things that are going on. And yeah, kudos to Florida. Kudos to the bus guy who's converting the buses. And I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, we got about, according to my watch, just under 10 minutes left. So before we get into the final thing that I know Andy lives for every week, Andy, we're getting ready for you, buddy. Chris, talk about your installation meeting, because let's open up. If anybody would like to learn about Kiwanis, come down to what Chris is going to share for his installation. I will personally take care of any lunch for anybody that comes down as a first-time guest to want to check out Kiwanis, see what the Norfolk Kiwanis Club is all about. Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Aaron. We would love to have anybody and everybody that would like to come. We meet at Town Point Club in Norfolk, Virginia. Those days are about celebrating the past year, your accomplishments. It's really good to share pictures, a little slideshow about all the things that your club did internally and externally. So really give those shout outs. And then to say thanks is a huge deal. So for anybody that's been in one of those manpower roles, don't be afraid to give out silly and quirky recognition, as well as just a nice certificate. It's not about what you give someone. It's that you do say thank you and that you do acknowledge people and recognize people. So make sure you celebrate the past year and then move traditionally into something neat, something that we've never done before. I don't think in the Norfolk Club, or at least I'm not aware of it, but we've done in other clubs, is we're going to pass the gavel from the presidents of the past. So anybody that's been a president before will just pass the gavel all the way down the line until it gets to me. And each person has a quick 10 seconds to say something, not 20 minutes, but they can pass the gavel and show that they've been a part of the presidential leadership of the club. And then as the gavel comes down to me, that will be Gary's last day. And as the incoming president, it'll be my job to appropriately recognize Gary, because Gary has done such a wonderful job. We joked a little bit earlier about the past president being a coveted position. It's truly a wonderful opportunity for the president and past president to share knowledge, to get all of the information, the jump drive that has all the agendas, all the emails. We don't have to recreate the wheel. A lot of that stuff is already there for us. The past president is your best coach and guide for the next year. And so anyhow, come down. It's what is that? September 19th. It's the third Thursday of September. We're going to celebrate the year that we've had. We're going to look at some great pictures of things that we've done. And then we're going to pass the gavel of leadership. The very first meeting of October will be the meeting where I present the M&Ms and they get to know a little bit more about me, and I'll present a slideshow about me and my family and my hobbies and the things that are important in my life and why I'm called to do this service work. And so I would love for anybody to come and join us for one of those meetings.
The date is actually the 18th. Is that Thursday? So just clarify that on your calendars, everybody. It's 12 o'clock. I will be there. My wife will be there. I'm already bringing a guest. So come on down. I will be more than happy to get Chris's year started off with whatever new potential members are interested. Come on down and let's check it out. All right. So it is that time. I saw Andy's message come in where he said that he is ready and he is hopeful. So am I, Andy. All right. Let's kick it off. It is time for some bad dad jokes. John, let us go. All right, as always, Chris is keeping the trend going. We challenge our guests to bring some bad dad jokes along to get it started. So, Chris, take it away and get us started.
My sons will tell you that I've got tons of these. I'm a bad dad joke lover. So I'll kick it off with the first one. So I bought a chicken and an egg on Amazon. I'll let you know what happens.
Yes. I subscribe to that same selling technique as well. All right, you got another one. Hit us with another one.
Sure. Hey, so I used to play piano by ear. Now I use my fingers.
Yes, that's...
He's good, Aaron. He's good.
I know. Hey, I got one for you. Why can't football players wear glasses on the field?
I don't know why.
Because it's a contact sport.
Hey, Aaron, did you hear about the guy that invented the knock-knock joke?
I did not hear about the guy who invented the knock-knock joke.
Yeah, he won the Nobel Prize.
Yes. Yes, yes. Hey, what happens to football players who go blind?
I don't know what.
They become referees.
I saw what you did there.
And as a former football player, I did become a referee when I first moved out to Vegas. So it is true. It is very true. Speaking of which, how did the Octopuses win the football game? They each had 10 tackles. 10 tackles. All right, Chris, you got another one for me?
Hey, so let me ask a clarifying question. I'm a big Chuck Norris joke fan. Are Chuck Norris jokes dad jokes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Chuck Norris once killed 2 stones with 1 bird.
Oh my!
I kind of like this back and forth stuff. Hey, where do football players dance? Of course, football players dance at a football.
Oh.
Since you brought up the chicken and the egg before, I'm going to try to recover from that last joke real quickly. How do chickens encourage their football teams?
They cluck?
They egg them on.
Egg them on.
Oh.
Hey, Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice.
How do football players deal with their problems, like these bad dad jokes? How do they deal with these problems? They tackle them head on. That's how they deal with them. That's right. Why do coaches like punters? Because they always put their best foot forward. Punters, forward. Okay. You said you have a
football season.
If you got to explain them.
Exactly.
What do you call a lineman's kid? A chip off the old blocker.
I resemble that remark.
You got another one there, Chris?
I'm going to throw the towel in. Just like a referee needs to throw the flag every now and then, a man needs to admit defeat or at least embarrassment, and I'm going to do that.
There's no embarrassment in these jokes, I can tell you. Last one.
If I told jokes like that, I'd be embarrassed too.
All right. Last two. Why did the kicker finally decide to marry his high school sweetheart? Because she was a fair catch.
And you're out of there.
All right, last one. This is a pre-Halloween joke. What do football players wear on Halloween? Of course they wear face masks. That does it for this week's episode of Bad Dad Jokes. Actually, I like this back and forth with Chris. This may have to be a new trend with future guests now. A little back and forth, a little challenge, a little, one-upmanship. I love it. All right. Hopefully you at least found one good, Andy. I hope the wait was worth it for you to take a second or two off the pain in your knee because
it's a tough day today. So.
Was it a tough day for the knee or was it a tough day for the jokes? I'm not sure how I want to take that one. Anyway, Chris Bryan, our guest today, the incoming president for the Kiwanis Club in Norfolk, takes office officially October 1st, but shares with us great stuff going on with his club as well as some Native American history, which is great, and looking forward to that come November. My friend Chris, thank you so much for taking time with us today in your busy schedule up there in Lynchburg.
I'm honored, y'all. Thank you.
Appreciate you very much. Doc Val, final thoughts as we say goodbye.
This 1 degree of separation is absolutely phenomenal. To know that there are so many Kiwanians around the world where we're connected to that can make us laugh, that we can enjoy time with, and we can change the world with. It doesn't get any better than that. So thank you, Chris. And thank you, Aaron, for helping me host one of the funniest shows out there. So this was a great laughing day.
Well, Doc Val, as always, we aim to please. So in exchange, we ask everybody to please aim. Anyway, with that, join us tomorrow. I know, what can I tell you? Aaron's Hour tomorrow, 11 a.m., my special guest, Millie Ely, E-L-Y. She is the president and founder of her own nonprofit with her mom, Carol, called Millie in Motion. Millie suffers from cerebral palsy, and she realized that there was not the proper physical therapists out there to help individuals with cerebral palsy. Well, guess what? She has started a foundation to bring together therapists specifically for those who have cerebral palsy, whether you're wheelchair bound or just beginning stages. So make sure you join me tomorrow. A lot of good stuff coming with her. With that, everybody, be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. We'll see you next time on Kiwanis Connects. This show is adjourned. And there you